If you are a casual NBA fan, here's probably what you think you know about Thanasis Antetokounmpo. Giannis' brother, the benchwarmer, a guy who claps a towel and gets a ring he didn't earn, only in the league because of his last name. You got him wrong, because the real Thanasis Antetokounmpo is a two-time G League All-Defensive Selection, a two-time Greek League champion with one of the biggest clubs in Europe, the most spectacular player of an entire professional league, an NBA champion and a medalist with his national team. That is not the resume of a guy who's just along for the ride, that is the resume of a decorated professional who has won at nearly every level he's ever played at, on 3 different continents worth of competition, against grown men fighting for their careers, long before anyone in America knew how to pronounce his name. And here's the part almost nobody knows. Without Thanasis, there may have never been a Greek freak at all. The NBA didn't find Giannis and then discover his brother, it was the other way around. We will get there. Today, this man gets the respect he actually earned. His whole story, from the 4th division of Greek basketball to the top of Europe to an NBA championship. Welcome to All Around Basketball, the channel where every player gets a story they actually deserve. We cover the NBA and European basketball, and especially the stories the box score never told you. If that's your kind of basketball content, do me a favor before we start. Hit subscribe, it genuinely helps the channel, and it means more stories like this one. Alright, to understand Thanasis, or as they call him in Greece, the elevator, you have to start in a neighborhood in Athens called Sepolia. Thanasis Antetokounmpo was born on July 18, 1992, the second of 5 boys to Nigerian parents, Charles and Veronica. His father had been a professional soccer player back in Nigeria. His mother was a high jumper. Athleticism ran in the family's blood, but in Athens, athleticism didn't pay the bills. The Antetokounmpos were the children of immigrants in a country going through its own economic collapse. The boys grew up sharing beds, sharing shoes, and famously selling watches, sunglasses, and DVDs on the streets of Athens to help the family get through the month. This is not a detail for sympathy, it's the context for everything that follows. Every level of basketball Thanasis ever reached, he reached while his family's survival was part of the calculation. He didn't touch organized basketball until 2008, a teenager at the junior teams of a small local club called Panathinaikos. Think about the timing. Most future professionals have been in academies since they were 8. Thanasis started structured basketball at an age when scouts have usually made up their minds. And here's the thing, his highlight reels don't tell you. He was the first one in. Before Giannis, before Kostas, before Alex, Thanasis was the brother who walked in the gym first, fell in love first, and dragged the household into basketball behind him. What he had was never polish, it was violence in the open floor. The longest rise in the gym, a motor that never shut off, and a vertical that made grown coaches stop mid-sentence. The nickname came later, but it fit from the start. The elevator. Straight up, no stops. By his late teens, he was a man playing among semi-professionals in the deep basements of the Greek basketball pyramid, and to understand how deep, you need to see the ladder he had to climb. Thanasis didn't start in a elite academy, he started in the 4th division of Greek basketball, a level where gyms don't fill, salaries barely exist, and nobody is coming to discover you, and he treated it like the NBA Finals. Season by season, Panathinaikos climbed, and Thanasis climbed with them. 4th division, 3rd division, 2nd division. Each level, bigger bodies and more clinical veterans. Each level, the same answer from the skinny kid from Sepolia. More energy than anyone on the floor. By the 2012-13 season, playing in the Greek 2nd division, he was averaging over 12 points a game as a team sending, and people around Greek basketball were starting to talk. Then came the night that made the whole country pay attention, the Greek League All-Star game. Thanasis, at 21 years old, scored 18 points, 3rd highest scorer of an entire game, and entered the slam dunk contest the same weekend. For reference, also on the floor was his younger brother, Giannis. Giannis scored 8. Nobody handed this kid anything. He earned every single rung of the ladder that most prospects never even see because they start at the top of it. And in the spring of 2013, that climb was about to collide with a problem much bigger than basketball, because officially, in the eyes of the law, Thanasis Antetokounmpo did not exist. Before we get to the draft, we need to correct the single biggest misconception in this whole story. The common belief goes like this: the NBA found Giannis, this one-in-a-generation talent, and then, as courtesy, discovered he happened to have an older brother. That is not what happened. It's backwards. In the Greek basketball scene of those years, the Antetokounmpo that people knew was Thanasis. He was the older one, the one tearing up the lower divisions, the one agents came to watch. It was through Thanasis' basketball connections that Greek agents entered the family's life at all, and it was Thanasis who personally brokered the first meeting between Giannis and the agent who would change his life. The reporters who wrote the definitive account of Giannis' rise say it plainly. The only reason the world found about Giannis is because of agents who knew his older brother. They came to see Thanasis, they found Giannis. and Giannis has never hidden any of this. He has said over and over that Thanasis is the reason he got interested in basketball in the first place. The first one in the gym, the catalyst, the one who came first and pulled the whole family through the door behind him. Think about what that means for the nepotism joke. That man they call a charity case is the man the whole empire was discovered through. Without Thanasis, there is no agent in the living room, no draft night, maybe no Greek freak at all. So the next time someone tells you Thanasis is only in the NBA because of Giannis, remember, history says it might be the exact opposite. Now the part of the story that has nothing to do with basketball and explains everything about this family. For the first 18 plus years of their lives, the Antetokounmpo brothers were in the eyes of the law, stateless, born in Athens, but with no Greek papers, and no Nigerian papers either. No passport, no ID. In 2013, both Thanasis and Giannis declared for the NBA draft together, and their status nearly derailed everything because you cannot get an American working visa when no country on earth recognizes you as a citizen. For 2 years, the Greek state had frozen citizenship applications. The unofficial answer to the Basketball Federation's pleas was brutal in its simplicity. We're not going to risk politics over a kid who plays basketball. Finally, on May 9, 2013, just weeks before the draft, Greece granted both brothers citizenship. Their statement said everything. A dream came true. We're now officially Greek citizens, as we have felt all these years. 6 weeks later, Giannis, the prospect NBA war rooms were buzzing about, went 15th overall to Milwaukee. Thanasis made a colder, braver calculation. Unsure where or if he would be picked, he withdrew from the 2013 draft and bet on himself. One more year of film, one more year of growth, and then America on his own terms. A 21-year-old finally holding the first passport of his life, choosing the harder road again. By now, you should recognize the pattern. In November 2013, the Delaware 87ers took Thanasis 9th overall in the D-League draft, what we now call the G-League. And this is where the "he's just a benchwarmer" myth completely falls apart. Because in America, alone, with no famous last name carrying him yet, Thanasis Antetokounmpo was genuinely good. 12 points, over a steal and over a block a night in his first season as a pro in a new country. He entered the D-League dunk contest and turned it into a highlight package. And at the season's end came the recognition that actually matters for this story. D-League All-Defensive Third Team, a league full of desperate, hungry professionals fighting for NBA contracts, and it officially rated him one of the best defenders in it. That performance earned him the thing 2013 hadn't given him. In June 2014, the New York Knicks drafted Thanasis Antetokounmpo 31st overall. He went to work for the Winchester Knicks and got better. Nearly 14 a game, over 6 boards, and a second consecutive All-Defensive selection. This time, second team. 2 years in America, 2 All-Defensive teams. There are NBA veterans who never make one. In January 2016, the call finally came. A 10-day contract with the New York Knicks and an NBA debut against the Phoenix Suns. From the Greek 4th Division to checking into an NBA game. A climb that, at that point, maybe no player in the league could match. The Knicks didn't keep him. And here's where Thanasis made a decision that separates his career from 100 fringe NBA stories. Most players in his position stay in America, chasing 10-day contracts, orbiting the league's edge for years. Thanasis looked at that path and rejected it. He bet on himself. Again, he went back to Europe, not to hide, to win. First stop, the Spanish ACB, Mora Bagandora, 2016-2017. If you don't follow European basketball, understand this. The ACB is arguably the strongest domestic league in the world outside the NBA. Serious coaches, serious defenses, no hiding plays for energy guys with no game. Thanasis made an impact immediately. Andorra, a small club with no business competing at the top, qualified for the ACB playoffs for the first time in 22 years, with Thanasis as the engine of chaos, transition dunks, chase down blocks, defensive switches across 4 positions. And, at the end of the season, Spain's historic basketball magazine Gigantes del Basket gave him a title that fits him better than any other stat line ever could. The most spectacular player of the entire league. Let that sink in. In a league obsessed with tactical discipline, the kid from Sepolia was officially its biggest show. And back home in Greece, one of the 2 giants of Greek basketball had seen enough. In July 2017, Thanasis signed with Panathinaikos. For NBA-only fans, Panathinaikos is not just a Greek team. It's one of the most decorated clubs in the history of European basketball. 7-time EuroLeague champions, a global institution with a fan base that treats basketball like religion. Wearing that green jersey in Athens as a kid from Sepolia is playing for a superpower in your hometown. And what did Thanasis do there? He won almost everything. In 2018, Greek League champion, beating the eternal rival Olympiacos in the finals. That same season, the Greek League's most spectacular player, the second country to give him that exact honor, and MVP of the Greek All-Star Game. In 2019, he ran it back. The Greek Cup, a second straight championship, and a second straight All-Star MVP. Back-to-back titles with one of Europe's biggest clubs, while logging real minutes in the EuroLeague, the second best competition on the planet, against the likes of Real Madrid, Fenerbahce, Barcelona. Now, let's be precise about what he was, because precision is respect. Thanasis was not Panathinaikos star. He was the ultimate role player. The man who, when called, you knew he was bringing 110% every single time. The defensive weapon who could guard without exaggeration anyone, point guards on switches, centers in the post, and everything between. Coaches don't build cults around players like that, fans do, and the Panathinaikos crowd adored him. You don't get named the most spectacular player of two different professional leagues in two different countries by being someone's little brother. He earned that, on the biggest stages European club basketball has to offer. This right here is the definitive proof. Thanasis Antetokounmpo is a winner and a legitimate high professional, full stop. And in the summer of 2019, with two championship rings in his pocket, the NBA finally called back. In 2019, Thanasis signed with the Milwaukee Bucks, reunited with Giannis, this time as teammates. And now we talk honestly about his NBA role, because honesty is what separates this video from a puff piece. Yes, in the NBA, Thanasis was a deep bench player. His minutes were few, his average is modest. That's true, we're not pretending otherwise. But here's what casual fans get completely wrong of what that job is. Being the last man on a championship contender's bench is one of the most brutal jobs in professional sports. You practice at full intensity every single day. You spend those practices guarding the best players in the world, in Milwaukee's case, often Giannis himself, so that the starters are ready for anyone. You stay in game shape for months, for minutes that may never come, and when they do come, cold, in garbage time, or foul trouble, you are expected to perform instantly. All of it with zero public credit. That job takes a special kind of professional. Thanasis was elite at it, and when he did hit the floor, the energy was real. The transition dunks, the strips, the defensive possessions that flip the building's mood in 90 seconds. And then 2021, the Milwaukee Bucks win the NBA championship. Thanasis Antetokounmpo, NBA champion. To the people who say he didn't earn that ring, here's the answer, and it comes from inside every locker room in sports. Championship teams are built by 15 men, not 5. Ask any professional about the practice battles, the standards, the voice on the bench on a tough playoff series. The Bucks' own players and coaches praised exactly that. His work ethic, his defensive versatility in practice, his relentless, genuine energy. Watch any Bucks broadcast from that run. When a teammate hits a big shot, the first man off the bench, arms up, losing his mind with real joy every single time is Thanasis. We celebrate glue guys and culture setters on every other roster in this league. Thanasis did all of it, and because his last name happened to be Antetokounmpo, people decided it didn't count. It counts, it absolutely counts. And then there's the national team, because for Thanasis, Greece was never just a jersey. It was the answer to the first 18 years of his life. Here's a fact most people don't know. In 2016, the Nigerian national team, his parents' country, invited Thanasis to join them, with a real shot at playing in the Rio Olympics. For a role player, that's a golden ticket, guaranteed international tournaments, and Olympic stage. He said no. He chose Greece, the country that had made his family wait 18 years for papers, the country whose 4th division he climbed out of, the country that on May 9, 2013, finally called him what he had always felt he was. When asked, his answer was simple: he's Greek. That's not a passport decision, that's identity. And he backed it up with a decade of service. EuroBasket 2017, the FIBA World Cup in 2019, EuroBasket 2022, the World Cup again in 2023. Summer after summer, while other NBA-adjacent players protect their bodies and their contracts, Thanasis showed up, took the hardest defensive assignment and set the tone. Then, in 2025, the payoff. Thanasis Antetokounmpo with Greece wins the bronze medal at EuroBasket, the national team's first major medal in over a decade and a half. A kid who once couldn't board the plane for Greece, standing on a European podium wearing its flag. If you want one image that explains who Thanasis Antetokounmpo is, it's not an NBA highlight, it's that one. One more piece of history. In 2025, Thanasis, Giannis and their youngest brother Alex all signed with the Milwaukee Bucks at the same time. The first time in NBA history that 3 brothers played for the same team. From a working class apartment in Sepolia, from selling sunglasses on the street, to a family that has written NBA history and won championships on 2 continents. And Thanasis wasn't a passenger on that journey. He was the driving force at the front of it, the first in the gym, the one the agents came to say. If he isn't there at the start, there is very possibly no story at all. So let's go back to where we began, the benchwarmer joke, the nepotism line. Look at that wall one more time. A decorated professional who won titles at the highest level of European basketball. A two-time All-Defensive Player in America's toughest proving ground, an NBA champion, an international medalist, and one of the most respected teammates of his generation. Was he an NBA All-Star? No. A star scorer? No. That was never the point. The point is this. Thanasis Antetokounmpo is a legitimate professional basketball player who earned everything he ever got. Through work, defense, energy, and heart from the 4th division of Greek basketball to an NBA parade. He was a winner at nearly every step, and he made every team he ever touched better in ways the boxer was never smart enough to measure. He was never just a last name. He was never just a brother. He was Thanasis Antetokounmpo, a champion, a defender, a winner, and one of the best teammates the sport has ever seen. That's the real story, and now you know it. If this video changed how you see Thanasis, share it with one person who still makes the benchwarmer joke. Let them meet the real one. And in the comments, which player did the world get completely wrong? Drop a name, the best answer might be the next video. If you enjoyed this, you will love the story of another guy Europe built and NBA ignored, Alpha Diallo, the undrafted kid who became the best defender in Europe. It's on screen right now. Subscribe to All Around Basketball, where every player gets a story they actually deserve. I'll see you in the next one.